Hello, everybody, and welcome to the PC Gamer Show. My name is Tom Marks, Associate Editor here at PC Gamer, and your host, as always. Joining me today, Mr. James Davenport. James, how you doing? You got a smile on your face there.
I was just thinking, like, how far your radio personality has come. Like that introduction, I could be driving like on my way to work, and I would just love to wake up to that sound in my speakers.
I've fallen into a rhythm, haven't I? That wasn't the plan, but I found a thing that I just kind of...
It's not falling into a rhythm, it's like finding your niche.
I guess,
and getting your voice.
I just hope if anybody listening right now, if I ever drift into the like YouTuber like, hey everybody, what's going on? Like if I go into that territory ever, just like tell me immediately, because I will pull back. I will pull back.
I'm good. Thanks for asking.
Good. I'm glad. Also joining us today is Mr. Bo Moore. Bo, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you, Tom?
I'm doing good. I'm doing very well. It's a good day here at PC Gamer, and I'm just happy to be around. We got a good show for you, as we usually do. We're going to be talking about the big stories today. Our Overwatch's anniversary event. Happy birthday to Overwatch! It is the 1-year anniversary of that game coming out today.
Time flies.
Then also we'll be talking about Destiny 2, and specifically Destiny 2 on PC. And specifically, James got to play Destiny 2 on PC.
You guys, it's going to be my hots and my Overwatch, and you're going to hate me for it.
No,
you and Tim.
I'm okay with that.
All right.
I'm okay with all of that. We'll also be talking about just some latest news. There's a lot of stuff going on, and we'll be taking your questions from Twitch chat at the end of the show, because we love you, and we love hearing about you and hearing from you. And part of loving you is the first piece of news that we have today. Was that weird? Was that too much? Okay. Well, we got a little bit of cool news today that I really am excited to talk about. Our first piece of news is, what was it? Oh my God, I'm losing track of time. Monday, 2 days ago, we launched the PC Gamer Club, guys, and this is really exciting. This is a thing that we have never done before, and we encourage you all to check out. You can always go to club@pcgamer.com. And you can see this beautiful page right here. We introduced the PC Gamer Club, and for those of you who don't know what it is, basically you can pay a small fee each month to get a bunch of perks through PC Gamer, and also while supporting us in our work and covering the cool PC games that you like. So the basic level is you get access to our community Discord server, which is now available to club members only. And you'll also get this really cool RPG handbook, this digital book that we've made that's a great for RPG fans. And then the big thing is you'll also be able to browse the site on mobile or on desktop or wherever you want, completely ad-free. And then if you pay $1 more, you get to become what's called a legendary member, and you'll also get a free game key every month. You'll get Geralt in a bathtub at 4K, a wonderful wallpaper.
It's really the only wallpaper you need.
Yeah, it's the last wallpaper you'll ever use, to be frank. And you'll get a monthly subscription to the magazine. So if you're looking to subscribe monthly to the digital mag, then you can also just get all this free stuff and ad-free on the site. And it's great. It's really a cool thing. It's only $5 a month for the legendary member, or £5 if you're in the UK, for the regular subscription status. And I highly recommend you guys all go to, if you like what we do, if you like the show, if you like anything like that, go to club.pcgamer.com and check it out, see if it's right for you. Because we're excited about it, and it's a really good way to support us if you like us. So thank you. And on that note of supporting, Crazy Canuck just resubscribed for 8 months in a row.
Damn.
So thank you very much for that support.
Yeah. And, a real quick shout out to all the people who have signed up for the club already.
Yeah.
I know many of you have, and so thank you so much for your support over the years. And
you're choking up James right now.
Sorry.
He's crying.
Yeah, I'm crying. That's what's going on. But yeah, we've had a lot of new members already, and the Discord has been good.
Oh my God, you're really dying right now.
Sorry, listeners.
This is the quality content you could get. Just to be clear, yeah, we're not. There were some questions about this. Nothing's gated, so if you're not a member, like no content is gated, but you will get the site ad free. You'll get a free game every month. You'll get a lot of cool stuff.
I mean, you get if you do the legendary tier, you get the digital magazine, and like I hate to underestimate how much work goes into that because it's a really tight magazine those guys put together, and it's so cool.
Yeah,
so cool. Some stuff you won't see on the site.
Anyway,
so.
that's an exciting thing.
Yeah, it's rad.
PCGamer or club.pcgamer.com, your simple place to find out more about that. Yeah. Let's look at some other news though that is not PC Gamer specifically related. I don't know which one I want to go with first here. Let's go with CS:GO. So CS:GO got a new operation late last night, actually. And it's the first operation that the game has gotten in a while. It's pretty exciting for CS:GO fans. Like, I mean, none of us play CS:GO regularly, but Jules M., who was in our Twitch chat right now, I'm sure, and is a big member of the Discord and all that jazz, has really, really been going crazy about it, basically. They added like a headshots only mode. This is part of the free stuff. The operations, you can upgrade it, but they're also adding like a headshots only mode. They're adding a 2v2 ranked mode. They're adding a mode that sounds really, really cool. That's like, or I guess have added is what I should say, a mode where it's like every time you miss a shot, you take damage down to 1 health. So, like, if you're not super accurate with your shots, you get weaker.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Deej Bruce in the chat says he's playing CS:GO right now. Yeah, it's kind of exciting. It's just, and there's the crates and the skins and everything that comes with that, and the co-op campaign stuff. So, like, cool. CS:GO got more stuff. It's
great.
I mean, it's really weird that they just like don't hype that stuff up, and then like suddenly on a Tuesday evening, it's like, oh, hey, this is available.
It.
Yeah, but that's cool. Gimbal Lock just subscribed for 6 months. Thank you very much. But let's talk about this other thing, too.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is another bit of news I really am excited to talk about. Last week on the show, we had a little bit of fun speculating on what Far Cry 5 could be like. And then immediately on Monday, or was it yesterday, like in the last couple of days, Far Cry 5 was officially announced via a trailer that I will pull up now, and you can find if you just go to pcgamer.com/far-cry-5. James, tell me if you can, where is the new Far Cry being set?
Montucky.
Excuse me?
Montucky. It's Montana.
Yeah.
It's Western Montana.
Your home sweet home.
Yeah. I'm literally getting on a plane and going here tomorrow. So,
is it exciting to see Montana in a game like this, in a AAA game?
It's super exciting.
Is it exciting or surreal or?
It's a little bit of everything. It's a little bit of everything because I don't know. Montana is. It makes sense as a Far Cry setting because it's lush and beautiful and full of wildlife and bizarre people. So it makes sense. I'm just surprised it actually happened. I'm curious to see more.
It's really strange to me.
Why? I kind of want to know from because I'm just like over the moon that I have all these excuses to write about Montana in the future. I want to know from the outside looking in what you two think about that.
Well, so real quick, I'll let Bo talk about this, but last week on the show we were talking about possibilities of where it could go, and basically me, Chris, and Wes were all like, they should just go crazy. Like, they should just go weird. Blood Dragon was cool, and then they did Primal, and Primal wasn't great, but like it was a cool setting, right? Like, they should just go a weird setting, like space or something. And then they went like the most normal, like modern day middle America, just like, let's just go completely bland is the vibe I get from it.
Bland?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Hold the fucking phone. Okay, all right.
Those fighting words about the James homeland. All right. I think it's an interesting move. I think it's cool. The one thing that really kind of sets it apart from the previous handful of games in my mind is like with Far Cry 3 and 4, like those are both ones where you're like stuck on this island. You're kind of trapped. 4 was what, in the mountains, Himalayas or something, or fictional country, but the sort of Nepalese type area. Far Cry 3, fictional island, but tropics. And with Montana, you know, you're not on an island, you're not in a jungle, you're just sort of, I'm assuming, somehow stuck in this area. But it'll be interesting to see how that plays into the map that you explore, sort of how large the map will be, what it'll be in terms of, you know, big open fields and
there was a lot of open space in that trailer
versus forests and cities and things like that. I have never been to Montana. I don't know what the population density is like. Are there like big cities?
We broke. It's one of the biggest states in the U.S. area-wise, and the population just broke 1 million a couple years back. So think about that.
Wow.
Think about the Bay Area alone and how many people are in the city right now, spread out, you know, across something like nearly as big as Texas. So not a lot of people. There's going to be room. I can tell you that. I can tell you.
I mean, not to say that the previous Far Cry games were super dense in terms of their populations, but I'm interested to see it being in a, I guess, slightly more urban setting. Like, even if it is middle of nowhere,
there are towns there, right?
Like, there are
absolutely.
There is populations in these in Montana, in the you know, the continental U.S. as opposed to the jungle or the mountains. So I'm curious to see how much of civilization we see or lack thereof.
I like the use of the word civilization. Like, Montana is like this barren place.
We have one horse.
Well, so this follows up with they released the first teaser image of the game.
This has been blowing up.
It has. So they released this image, which is the first like screen, because the trailer wasn't gameplay. It was just some.
It was live action. Somewhere near Great Falls or something.
But this is Far Cry 5. Yeah. This image is a little inflammatory in certain ways, right?
It's provocative.
That's a good way to put it. It's provocative. Right. And so for those of you listening, I highly recommend you go see the image yourself. But it's, you know, this slightly altered American flag with all these. And I say this as a bearded white dudes sitting behind a table in kind of like a mock Last Supper pose with like guns and religious symbols all around them. It's very religious culty kind of feeling to it. There's a church in the background, but with their own kind of altered cross flag, you know, like there's
the American flag draped over the table has the stars replaced with something very similar looking to the Iron Cross, which is a known Nazi symbol.
Yeah, and if you know anything about Western Montana, it's also home to so there are pockets of white nationalists all over the western part of the state. In particular, Richard Spencer calls Whitefish home. So it's provocative in that way, in that it's hard to ignore those kind of comparisons, right? Even if that's not the direction they go. It feels very political, right?
It does.
For a mainstream Far Cry game, and they've always kind of skirted on the edge of like of political problems in the countries they're based on, and dealt with situations from those countries. But this feels so much more, I guess, present or loud, probably because we live here, right? Not in Montana, but we are currently, seeing this kind of thing in the news all the time with white nationalism and Richard Spencer and so on. So I think it's really hard to ignore that kind of comparison, and people are kind of up in arms about that, right? Because if we're going to go to this country and like these are going to be the bad guys, country as in state, and these are going to be the bad guys, it feels close to home, and I think people are going to be like, whoa, what the fuck? Who knows?
It's going to be interesting. To me, we don't know enough yet, and we're supposed to learn more on Friday, right?
Yeah, I should say I'm dancing around what I say is because I saw more.
Yeah,
and
I can't quite say.
I can't yet. I know more about this image. I want to talk about it.
Well, we'll let you keep your silence.
Friday, come back to PC Gamer, and you'll see more.
But the thing I'm interested in is like this is an interesting topic for them to tackle. Like you can take your stance on it all you want. Like I'm not here to debate any of that. Like what I'm saying is like it's an interesting thing for them to like an angle for them to go, and it's gonna depend. It's a gamble to me in that if they handle it well, it could be really cool, and if they don't handle it well and they're very tone deaf and kind of ignore certain parts of the story for like bad reasons, like it could blow up in their face, basically. Yeah. I'm kind of glad they went this way just because it is risky, and risky is always more interesting.
Yeah, and it's nice that we're not just going to like the foreign country of the week, you know, and
right.
And yeah, knowing the kind of pedigree of Far Cry, that sort of riskiness and whether or not it'll work out is a big question mark because it's a series that has often had some kind of interesting or borderline quote unquote big ideas, but that have often been handled in not the best way in terms of the execution. Far Cry 3 in particular, in my mind, like there was a lot of debate about whether that game was just a, you know, bro power fantasy or if it was a delicately crafted satire of that power fantasy.
I remember.
And the debate rages on whether or not it was intended or not, or satirical or not, or either way, how people interpreted it was often open to debate. So
I think overall, though, Far Cry games are exceedingly weird in some way, and I'm excited to see what that, you know, how that comes across in a setting a lot of people might consider closer to home. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, we'll see. And I don't know, man. I just got to see more, I guess. Yeah. I'll shut up about it because like it really is just a whoa. This is getting the exact reaction out of me that they wanted. And now let's wait to see more on Friday.
Exactly.
I had one more thing to say, but it's gone. So I will just say thank Varendale for subbing for 7 months, and Unshaven Box 94 just subscribed for the first time. So thank you. Calm down, James.
Welcome to the fold.
Varendale actually had a message for you, James. He says he's listening to this while playing Gwent. So.
Ooh, Gwent. Yeah. That's open beta today.
Actually, that's another little bit of news that we could real quickly mention is that the Gwent open beta hit today. So some people were asking me a little while ago. We're asking, like, are you still playing it? And I was kind of waiting for it to hit open beta, and now I'm probably going to jump back into it this week sometime.
Yeah. I hear there's a trailer released, too, of some kind of live action or CG trailer. So if you
I hadn't seen that.
I saw it in a tweet reference, so I'm not totally wrong. But either way, that's cool.
Yeah.
More card games.
If you want to play a card game that isn't Hearthstone.
Yeah. Actually, I wrote an article just about exactly that, about 9 alternatives to Hearthstone on the site. So there you go. But let's talk about what we've been playing recently, man. I want to jump into it because there's been a good amount, right? There's been a lot of stuff.
I've been playing some games.
Yeah. Go for it, Bo.
I will go. If you tuned in a couple weeks ago, last time I was on the show, some of y'all heard that I was playing a game that was not Overwatch.
Hey-o.
It was crazy. I was playing Heroes of the Storm, and I have... See, this is the thing. Is at
James
the time,
got called out. Wait. James got called out 2 weeks ago for hating on Heroes of the Storm, and I think his new strategy is to just lean into that.
This is my brand now, so... Go on, Bo. I won't interrupt you.
The thing is what I was saying at the time is I had played like 3 matches, and I was really not looking forward to slogging through a whole bunch of Heroes games to get that sweet, sweet Diva skin that I needed. I don't even play Diva, but I needed that skin. The thing was, Blizzard got me.
They got you.
They tricked me. They tricked me into liking Heroes of the Storm. They made me play it with friends. I played it with Tom. I played it with a couple other PC gamers around the office. And the game's pretty cool. I enjoyed it. I have been enjoying it for the last several weeks, playing Heroes of the Storm. But now I'm not playing it anymore. That's a lie. I'm still playing it. But I'm also playing, take a guess, Overwatch,
which we will talk about.
We will talk more about it.
Talk about that.
But yeah, the anniversary event just went live yesterday, and I will tell you all about that when we get to it.
Any great revelations from playing more HOTS? Any like bite size?
The funniest thing that sticks out to me is I wrote a thing earlier this week, literally with that title. Blizzard tricked me into liking Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, you did.
And when Tom over here edited it for me, I was talking about, I make a point in there that was like, you know, I started out, I was really bad, but there was a moment where I found a hero that kind of clicked for me, and I was like starting to figure out what was going on and getting a little bit better, and that obviously made the game experience a lot more fun for me. So Tom over here suggests, oh, you should add in that detail, like tell him what hero clicked for you. So I said, I put in the detail. That hero is Nova, and everyone in the comments, it made the Heroes of the Storm subreddit, and everyone in the Reddit, they were all saying, no, not another Nova main. Apparently Nova is, unbeknownst to me, a bit of a noob pick.
Well, there's a little bit of a running joke in the Heroes community that, like, new players will a lot of the time be like, oh yeah, stealth heroes, and just like go straight for stealth heroes like Nova, because you can basically don't need to know positioning as well at the beginning of the game. But yeah, you got. It was funny because I asked you to put that in, and you literally just put Nova in parentheses as like the only addition, and like that was the most talked about thing in the whole article. Like that one word.
True, but the cool thing was it kind of spurred some interesting debate about the Nova character, in that there were people coming to her defense, and that each saying, you know, she's maybe not super powerful at high levels, but she is a good, you know, entry level pick. The stealth helps with positioning. She's very high damage and can be high impact when used properly. And so I have no qualms. I'm not an expert Nova player. I'm not that pro Nova who will auto pick her every time. And I did play several other heroes besides Nova, but yeah, she worked for me, and yeah, I enjoyed having some people come to my defense when I was so mercilessly taken down.
James, shaking your head, what have you played?
Oh, geez.
Or do you want me to go? I'm happy.
What do you got? Yeah, you got
okay, I'll say one that I wanted to call out. This was a game I actually included in our my end of the week new Steam games you might have missed games list. This is a game called Brute. It's like an arcade shooter. An article on actually RPS, Rock Paper Shotgun, described it as N, like the ninja game, N+.
It totally has that look.
You're a spaceship instead of a ninja, which is not a bad description of it, actually. It's a really, really pretty game because it's just like this really minimalist art style, but it's just solid colors, and the palette switches constantly, but everything has a drop shadow to it, and certain things will just have really long shadows, which implies that they're really tall. So the whole game feels just great. Like it just has that game feel that is just super, super satisfying. And the way it actually works, and I didn't actually know this when I added it to the list, is you have a limited amount of gas. Like you have a very, very small amount of movement you can do. And then you can pick up these gas pellets as you go. So it's a really, and if you touch any of the walls, you just instantly die. So it's a really touchy game of like, okay, really carefully move through this course while shooting dudes, while avoiding things, while getting to the end. It's pretty cool. I was not expecting to like it nearly as much as I did, and I thought it's a lot of fun.
Cool.
Yeah, that was one of the main things I've been playing lately. I've also been playing Heroes and Overwatch, and I can't remember. Oh, I guess I didn't actually play any card games in the last week or so.
Holy
I know.
cow.
Yeah, I've been taking a break.
You all right?
Yeah.
You need to talk?
It's a lot of stuff to play.
You want to talk about it?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Go ahead, James.
All right.
What have you been playing?
It's been a blur. Last year, Jesus Christ. Last week, I was at Judges Week, E3 Judges Week, and I was playing a bunch of stuff that we'll learn about soon. Some we already have learned about, and one of those things.
James is playing Embargo the Game.
Embargo the Game. And I'm not going to try and guess what is still under embargo and what isn't, and I'm going to go with what I know. And I did publish a thing on Monday, my hands-on impressions with Middle Earth: Shadow of War.
Yeah.
You guys,
tell me about that game.
You guys play Shadow of Mordor at all?
I did. I was a big fan of that game.
Yeah, you wrote about the Nemesis system.
I did,
recently for us. Why haven't more people used it? Well, guess what? A developer has brought back the Nemesis system, and Is
it the developer that came up with the Nemesis system in the first place?
Exactly. And they've expanded on it. I didn't get to really see, and I don't think anyone will really get to see what the new Nemesis system looks like until we can play 40 hours of that game.
Yeah.
But
they've talked about it a little bit.
They've talked about it a
Yeah.
lot. So now you have the Nemesis system applies to your own army. So you can have your own orc army, and they, you can shuffle their positions around, and they can betray you, and you can recruit more people, and so on. And that'll change over time. And the section I got to play was where you lay siege to a fortress.
Nice.
And it's unclear to me exactly how the greater structure of the game will work, but the map is broken into regions, and each of these regions is sort of bottlenecked by a fortress. In order to take over that region, you need to not only if you want, at least explore the region like the first game and kind of kill or recruit the orc leaders throughout it, but there's a big ass castle at the end or somewhere in there, heavily guarded, and you need to take that over to reclaim that territory. Period. And to do that, you can't just necessarily waltz up to it, as far as I know, and just go sneak in like you would in the first game. Mm-hmm. You need to actually prepare to go to war. Shadow of War. What do you know?
Who would have thunk?
Yeah. So I got to do that. They just threw us right into a one of these scenarios, and I'll kind of stay brief with how it works. But you're presented a menu, and you get to see kind of the hierarchy of who's going to be at the fortress, enemy-wise, and on your side. And it almost feels like, gosh, you're looking at a 4X, a light 4X strategy menu. Because you can inspect each orc. Are they Uruks or orcs? How do I say that? Uruks. Bad goblin man. And see their fears, their strengths, and they each have a tribe now, which kind of gives them certain abilities and behavioral or behaviors. And that stuff is so deep and dense that it's kind of hard to understand how it's all going to work. But so you can look at that stuff and inspect each orc and kind of try to prepare your forces for the battle. So, okay, if they have this, a couple people who are scared to death of spiders or beasts or something, I want to prop up my forces with people who are maybe adept with beasts. Or in the new menu, you can use an in-game currency. I don't know how you'll get the currency. I smell microtransactions and I worry a little bit, but you can purchase sort of upgrades and additional forces. I think in the first demo we saw, in the reveal video for the game, we saw a drake. There was a big dragon that was flying around. So you can bring your own dragon to the party if you want. Instead, I brought an army of spiders, which is nasty as hell. So because there were so many enemy orcs scared of spiders, I'm like, oh, fuck it, yeah, I'll do that. There was also a bunch of ranged units who I thought, well, I wonder if spiders will be able to get by those guys easily, and it turns out it was true. So I also brought these wall bashing trolls who just tore down the outer wall because their walls were reinforced, which their siege can have certain traits too. They also had pots of molten lava they were spilling over the wall. And I didn't really prepare for that. I didn't have a lot of time, but it was really cool because when you prepare and eventually okay, I'm going to have these shielded guys, I'm going to have some beasts, I'm going to have this, I'm going to put this commander here because I think he'll be good going up against this commander, and so on.
Nice.
You press go, and you just charge, and you head into the fortress as dozens, maybe 100 or 200 units go with you, and it's really something to behold. It's super bizarre, and a lot of the units. So if you have a siege unit like a artillery troll of some kind who can catapult magma or curse or whatever poison into the enemy fortress, you can pilot that guy. You can just hop on him and steer and do precision shots if you want. And that applies to almost every unit. So you can get on a war beast if you want. You can fly on a drake if you want. Can't The spiders are too small to ride. Bummer. But,
this almost sounds like that RTS that everyone dreams about, right? Where you like can take control of specific units and you're a unit on the battle. Like it almost feels like that. Or sounds like that.
That's the big takeaways, because I eventually, I hopped over the wall. I battled a few guys in the Arkham style combat, and you have to like take these capture points, 3 distinct capture points, and when you take one of these points, you actually like press a button and he slams a staff into the ground and it sends this big wave of energy out and it knocks all the orcs over. Nice. Anyway, it's tight. You go to this boss room, you defeat the Overlord and you take over the fortress. The big takeaway for me was that I would have spent more time devising strategy and thinking about strategy than I would when I'm actually in battle. So I wanted to spend a lot of time in the menu, and I wanted to spend a lot of time thinking about the best approach, what units to bring, and in that way it feels like a sort of pared down strategy game.
Yeah, that's very cool. The question I had for you after this description is like, how much of your outside of the menus, your like individual combat input, how much does that like influence the battle? Like basically, if you have a bad strategy, but then you're just like a badass one-man army, can you go in and just like wreck through and win anyway? Or is it like, if you're not really prepared, you're gonna get slaughtered?
That's the question I still have. Is this was a demo, and I don't know if it was like tweaked in any way because we were just getting thrown into it. It was an early fortress that was maybe designed to teach you how to take over fortresses, and it was meant to be simple, but it was pretty simple. I don't feel like I really pushed the battle one way or the other. And maybe they're all going to be that way. I don't know. What really stood out to me was kind of on the way I was trying to save my own captains, and I felt like a lot of your own captains will die, and you'll lose a lot of people, and there's sort of incentive to like minimize that. Yeah. But I don't know. I really hope that later on strategy will matter, like in some of the later.
Yeah, because that was a big criticism of the first Shadow of Mordor game, was like when it starts out, the combat is really, really tense because you're not very powerful, and the Nemesis guys some of those chieftains can be like really, really strong, and you got to really think about your goal. Like even just taking on a handful of normal enemies was like really tough, but once you get fairly far in the game and you get powered up a bunch, you kind of didn't need to do any strategy anymore. You could just run into the middle of a heavily controlled fortress and just do like a counter chain, kill everybody, and just be like, all right, well, I'm good. That was easy. Yeah. And so I think finding that balance where it would be, in my mind, what I want it to be is like a situation where in the early game, when you're not very powerful, the strategy is really important because that's the only way you're going to win. And then in the late game, you can maybe go in and wreck through a ton of dudes, but like the opposing forces are so overwhelming that like even if you do that, you still need a good strategy in order to come out on top. It's
so hard to tell with demos like this too, because it could be exactly what Bo you're saying is it could be that it's lacking that and it's not a very good game, or it could be that this is literally the tutorial like siege, and they literally showed you the tutorial siege as the demo, and that's why it was like it's so hard to tell in those isolated demos.
And we'll see. I mean, I think it's coming out August, is that right? That's like they did the thing where this game's happening in a couple months.
Let me get an actual date for you.
We'll find out soon enough. I think
August 22nd.
Oh, damn!
Coming right up.
I think I can come away from this demo like knowing it feels good, looks amazing on PC. The enemy orc diversity is like, it feels like it stepped up. I didn't see a single orc that looked the same, and there were some that were like super cowardly, and some that were really arrogant. Some were like very black metal looking, just like corpse paint looking at orcs. Nice. There are also there are orc bards.
Orc bards?
So, in Shadow of Mordor, when you meet a captain and the camera will kind of zoom in on them and they'll say like, I'm going to kill you. Whoa, yeah. The orc bards sing a song.
No way.
About killing you. They go,
oh my God.
They play on all the, I'm going to eat your brains. And, like,
oh my God.
It's fucking amazing. And I laughed so goddamn hard. And I wanted to, my goal was to recruit an orc army. In the final game, I'm hoping I can somehow assemble an orc bard army.
Yes.
So here, I have two questions for you before we move on.
Yeah, for sure.
The first question, I guess, is a little bit of a simpler one, which is the trailer that they showed of probably the exact siege you actually played.
Yeah,
maybe,
I think it was.
Where they did that vertical slice trailer. One of the criticisms I had of it was it was very, very cinematic and showy and looked like a movie, but also it took control away from you a lot, and it made it feel like that was very, very staged, right? So can you just comment on, like, does it feel super cinematic like that? Does it take control away from you too much? Any of that stuff?
I don't think, not to the extent of that demonstration. And it's worth noting that these are a very focused section of the game. We've yet to see it, but there is an overworld, and you can just kind of, wander around the open world and do things at your own pace. And
it's not all sieges. There's still
a siege
some
is meant to. I think a siege can get away with a bit more of that because there are fewer of them. I don't know how many there are in the final game, and they're meant to feel like this big culmination of all your friends are there. And I think once you develop a relationship with your orcs, you won't mind seeing the camera move over to this guy as he says something, because you're like, oh fuck yeah, that's my boy, you tell him, and when the Overlord comes out and talks shit, you'll be like, all right, this guy's going down, and ideally feel more invested, because I know the Nemesis system from the first game got close to that, and I think petered out the longer you played. This seems poised to at least reframe the Nemesis system in a more dramatic, longer term, or I guess long sense. You'll get more if you put in more time with it, and I think it's designed that way as well. So we'll see.
So the other question I had is, since around when Shadow of Mordor came out, a lot of people were doing Arkham combat, right? That was a very common thing, and since then, a lot of people have not moved away from it, but it's become less kind of ubiquitous. Yeah. Does it feel dated at all? Does it feel are you bored of it? Is it exactly the same?
I mean, I didn't get a sense of the depth of the combat system. Okay. I know there's more, but I think it still works in Shadow of War because the scale of the conflicts is so much bigger. When you're on the ground in one of these fortress events, and there are just dozens of these guys around you, all kind of having their individual battles, and there's a big ass troll over here lumbering towards you, and there's a drake up above. It makes sense as a combat system that you just kind of point towards what you want to hit and rhythmically tap, because I don't know how else you navigate that kind of arena without getting totally confused. Yeah. And the animations seem to fill in the blanks anyway, so as you're moving between different units in combat, and you can point to with your bow to a unit in the sky and transport to it immediately. It seems designed to almost be third person combat slash like you were saying, Bo, a sort of vessel for light RTS control. So it's designed to be simple because you're going to be doing a lot more at once and sort of managing a lot more at once. And yeah, I think it works.
Sounds cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, thank you for breaking that down. I'm excited to read more of your thoughts on other things you played as the embargoes lift one by one, as the dominoes fall over in that. But let's move on to our next topic. Let's talk about Overwatch.
That's my game.
And specifically, Overwatch's anniversary. It is Overwatch's, as we said earlier, Overwatch's first birthday today.
I actually got a little bit of a bone to pick with Blizzard.
Oh, shit.
Because, see what they did. The game launched on May 24th, 2016.
Yeah.
By all accounts. It maybe launched on May 23rd in a few time zones or something.
Okay.
But because May 23rd is a Tuesday, which is Overwatch patch day, they just like retconned the anniversary. So like in the developer update that Jeff Kaplan put out yesterday, he's like, on May 23rd, we launched Overwatch, despite like for the past year, everything saying that the launch day was the 24th. So
was it, I can't remember. Was it one of those launches where it launched at midnight in Australia on
I don't know.
I
mean, it did launch worldwide at the same time.
Okay.
So
it must have been like midnight, like UTC or something.
I'm not exactly sure what the time difference breakdown, but like when you have something like that, no matter how you do it, there's going to be dates that are or times that are different. You know, one day or the other is what I'm trying to say. So. Yes, maybe it technically was the 23rd, but I'm pretty sure that it was the 24th, and
we
they just retconned it. So
yeah, we see through them.
Either way, one day or the other, we've got 1 year, 1 year of Overwatch.
It's crazy to me that it's been a year. It doesn't feel like a year.
It feels like simultaneously like that game has been out forever and that it's always existed. And then also it feels like it just came out and it's still super new.
I think part of it is, and I know I say this while people are in the chat like doing resident sleepers about Overwatch, but it feels like that to me because of how incredibly popular it has stayed. People like you may not care about Overwatch, and that's fine. If you don't care about Overwatch, don't care about Overwatch. I'm not trying to convince you otherwise. But at the same time, that game is so popular still.
Yeah.
There are so many people still playing it, and they have done an event every 2 months, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
And they've just been supporting it like nuts. Like, that was one of the big complaints. I've mentioned this on the show before. Everyone was like, oh, you know, they're really going to have to update it a lot if they're asking for $60 and it's not free to play and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, they kind of have. They've really updated it a lot.
They have supported that game a lot, both in comparison to other shooters and even in comparison to other Blizzard games. Like they've given it a lot of love, and it shows because it is widely considered a very, very good game. It is a beloved game. They've I think broken 30 million, maybe even.
Real quick, I'm going to contest that number because they say 30 million players, which I think must include just accounts made. Right, so that probably includes.
I mean, I'm sure that includes like duplicate accounts and all that.
Yeah,
like there's no real way to measure, you know, if a player has multiple accounts, and there probably are a lot of accounts that are made. For example, on the Korean servers, via the whole PC Bang thing. For those of you who aren't familiar, in Korean internet cafes, it's pretty common you go and pay a flat rate, and then you can just create an account for free. You don't have to actually purchase Overwatch to be able to play there.
Yeah, that's a big cultural difference. Is Korea? A lot of people just don't own games like that.
Yeah, they do all of their playing in internet cafes or these gaming cafes, paying instead by the minute or by the hour to play, rather than building a computer and purchasing the game itself. Anyway, but that's besides the point. So bottom line, Overwatch is very, very popular, and they are, of course, doing an event, as Overwatch does, to celebrate the anniversary. We got a bunch of new skins, and what I'm especially excited about with the new skins is, I've complained about this in the past, that some of the event skins have been... There's really only like 2 or 3 legendary skins, and then the rest of them were just like recolors. And I get it. The legendary skins are the cool ones, and those are the ones that take the most time to make. But this time around, there's 11 new skins. Every single one is a legendary skin.
Are they good?
They are pretty good. They're kind of weird, but some of them are quite cool.
Well, it's neat because they're not. The reason I like them actually is because they're not, you know, Chinese New Year, and they're not Christmas.
They're
and they're
not tied
Halloween.
to a theme, so they're not bound by that.
Yeah, so it was basically just like Blizzard was like, let's just make some cool looking skins, and like made random weird themes that didn't fit in anywhere else.
Yeah, a bunch of them are, you can sort of see some design language across a few of them. There's a lot of sort of futuristic, like, cyber armor type things that you'll see in like the Genji one and the Zarya skin.
A lot of orange.
A lot of orange, yeah. But then there's also going in like a totally different direction. You have this like 50s rockabilly diva skin that's really cool. Like
her mech is a hot rod, James.
It is. It has little bullet tail lights, and there's even an air freshener hanging in her dash. It's amazing. Yeah, so they're just kind of all over the place, and it gives some much needed variety to some of the skins where they often just sort of feel, all tied to the single event. And, with a year now that we've had 5 or 6, maybe even 7 events now, that we're getting to a nice healthy pool of skins. So the games kind of feel
pool
a lot
of
different.
skin.
That's just creepy.
Skin pool.
So here's the question that I want to ask, because we could just go in and talk about the individual modes and the individual skins, and then James would claw his way through the floor.
I like Overwatch.
Okay. Anyway.
Do you, though?
I do.
I'm sorry. I'm just used to you being such a downer.
I can be. I'll roleplay. Ah, jeez. God.
No. So here's a question I want to ask is, what do you think they screwed up on in the first year? Mm-hmm. And then B, what do you want them to do for the second? And then also for James, what would they have to do in the second year to get you back, I guess, you know what I mean, or get you into it? So that's a lot of questions, but to start off, do you think there's anything they really did wrong? Because the big thing to me when they first launched was they didn't launch with a ranked mode.
Yeah.
But that now in retrospect is such a little blip on the history of that game that it didn't even matter.
Yeah, so I posed that very question to Jeff Kaplan and Jeff Goodman in an interview that we published earlier today. And the answer that they had, which points out to me, and I think is a good answer, has to do with competitive mode. They pointed out that there were a lot of lessons learned over the last several seasons. And yeah, the game didn't even launch with a competitive mode at the beginning. When it first came, it was in a pretty rough state. There was stuff like the coin flip to basically determine tiebreakers. Like games came down to an actual coin flip, more or less.
Yeah, I remember that. That was awful.
It was really bad. Technically, you still had both chances one way or the other, but it's doing it one way or the other was heavily biased in one direction, and whichever team won the coin flip there was often the one that won ended up winning the match. So there's that. There's stuff like getting the distribution of the skill rankings correct and into a good place, proper matching and matchmaking and all this stuff. That they've learned a lot of lessons on that front. The one thing that I am still questioning, and I also asked them, is that I think might be a mistake, is the game still does not have a ranked scoreboard. And
do you think that's a mistake? Maybe.
I think it might be. There's a lot of debate. I've researched a fair bit of community sentiment around the scoreboard or lack thereof. And it, again, is a question that I posed to the developers. Unfortunately for me, they said that is not something that they expect to revisit. It is unlikely that they will ever implement a ranked scoreboard. Their reasoning is there's so much outside of just your KD ratio that is important in an Overwatch match.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's the lack of scoreboard. The reason they made that choice was in an attempt to limit toxicity, because people will often flame the person with the worst KD ratio on your team. But instead, there's just no information at all. So if you've been in a salty Overwatch match, I'm sure you know that people will flame nonetheless. The only difference is they will do it and point fingers wildly and make accusations without really any data to back it up. So while the worst person on the team may or may not end up actually having the flames directed at them, the flames are still there. And that has led to stuff like the Hanzo bias, and picking off meta heroes just gets you flamed and gets blamed for losses when maybe you actually are doing quite well.
I don't know. I might be of the opinion that I'd rather have an ignorant idiot yelling at me than like an informed idiot yelling at me.
It is true, but I mean, the other thing is they say, like I said, that there's so much in the game that is non-quantifiable, and yet they have the fire score system that directly quantifies a lot of stuff that is not directly KD ratio.
Right.
Like, you earn points for blocking, you earn points for standing on the objective, for moving the payload, and I could see something like a modified version of what's in Heroes of the Storm, where it calculates your team XP contribution. It shows for tank characters that you've been tanking, for healers that you have been healing, and obviously, the system would need some finessing, but at least for competitive mode, it would be nice to have something that gives some more information, in my opinion. But,
yeah. One of the things that, looking back, I have become more annoyed with than I thought was the exclusivity of certain things in events, like exclusivity of items. Because at first I thought it would be cool that you can't get the Halloween item unless you were at the Halloween event. Is like, oh, that's actually really neat. You had to be there to experience it, and it's just a little perk for being there during that time in the game's life. But now I'm looking back at skins that I don't have for events I was absolutely part of and played a lot in, and I'm like, oh, it's not like an I was there sort of thing. It's just like I don't have that and never will, and I'm sad about that.
And unfortunately, that comes down a lot to the business model of the loot box system. I mean, the good news is at least they learned the lesson of with the very first event, the Summer Games event, it was the worst one, because not only were the items limited to only the Summer Games, but you couldn't even purchase them with credits. Like, you were purely stuck to luck of the draw, and if you really wanted, like, for example, I really wanted to get one of the Zarya weightlifter skins, but the only way that I could quote unquote guarantee me getting that is just keep purchasing loot boxes until I got it. Whereas they made a change to that, and so all events since then, you at least can, while the event is active, you can purchase the skins with currency. So assuming if you're willing to pay like the $20 for 24 loot boxes, that gets you enough currency probably to unlock a legendary skin. So you might not be able to get everything you want, but it's pretty likely that you'll be able to get at least the one thing that you want.
Yeah. Well, what would you guys want to see them do going forward?
In the future?
I think that, I mean, Blizzard is an interesting company to me, because we see this with Hearthstone, we see this with Heroes of the Storm, we see this with Overwatch, all three of their kind of biggest, hottest games right now, although, StarCraft is huge and will always be huge, and WoW is huge and will always be huge, but with these three games specifically, these competitive games like this, not saying StarCraft isn't a competitive game, just bear with me here. You get what I mean. With these three games, we constantly see these kind of basic features being asked for, or what the community perceives as basic features, just never being implemented, like, or taking a really, really long time to be implemented. Like, here, Hearthstone didn't have a spectator mode for like the longest time,
and it took even longer to get 9 additional deck slots.
Yeah,
that was terrible.
Yeah, and then when they got the spectator mode, it was like broken. And like they haven't fixed it, like, and Overwatch I feel like has a lot of those little problems too still. I feel like there's a bunch of little just quality of life, why can't we do this sort of things still. I think they did a really good job with the custom game mode and kind of opening up the possibilities of that, but there's still just things like I struggle to name something off the top of my head, but a lot of those just like little like, hey, other games has this. Like, why can't I save a replay permanently still? That's a good example of it.
There are a lot of little things like that, and to Blizzard's credit, they have added a fair bit of those little quality of life changes. Overwatch in particular seems like the of their IPs that they are the most receptive to feedback and aggressive with adding things, basically as comparison to Hearthstone that has taken months or even years to get these basic features added. But yeah, I mean, a question like that has been posed to the devs in the past, and if I recall their answer, it's basically they're like, you know, we are, at the end of the day, we are still a team that has a limited number of man hours, and there are things we are working on, but we can either put all of or the majority of our resources towards making new content, you know, designing heroes, designing maps, working on balance changes, the stuff that is important to make the game run and play and continue to be fun, or we can stop doing that and focus all of our efforts on these small things that sure are nice little quality of life changes, but you know, if the game breaks while having a little thing fixed, it doesn't help if the big thing breaks in the process.
It would be interesting to me to see Overwatch and Blizzard do something like what Ubisoft is doing with Siege right now, where Rainbow Six Siege canceled its... So a year for them is broken into 4 seasons. They canceled the second season of year 2 entirely and said, we are only working on health of the game, quality of life things. We are working on increasing the tick rate of servers. We're working on latency. We're working on, you know, lag problems and performance issues. We're working on all of these little things to just like bust it out in this update and over these 3 months, and then we're going to go back to making more content for the game. I'm not saying that Blizzard should or shouldn't do this. I'm just saying it would be really interesting to see Blizzard just say, you know what, for the next 3 to 4 months, we're just going to work on adding a bunch of those little things that you guys constantly complain about, and then we'll go back to making characters.
I think that would be an interesting strategy, and, you know, I guess it depends a lot on how long that laundry list of little things is. I can't think of that many small things that are that glaring to me. The biggest one.
All the small things?
The little windmills.
James is even madder than he was a moment ago.
Yeah. The biggest one for me is the replay thing, being able to save that. And, you know, that's something they said we're working on it. And I don't think that they are holding back these changes because they, like, don't want to give them to us, or they want to, like, dole them out slowly. Like, I think they are working on them, and it's just a matter of when it gets done. Fun fact, game development takes time.
Yeah. So, James, what would they have to do to get you back in, or to get you in at all? Because you were never, like, heavy into Overwatch.
I mean, yeah, class-based shooters. Like, I'm not a competitive guy, and I just don't give a shit. I like to go where my friends are, and that changes a lot.
Would a Left 4 Dead kind of single-player mode do it for you?
Not at all. I think what I would want that Blizzard will probably never do, I don't know, maybe they'll surprise me, is some kind of custom map-making tool. Because my favorite thing about games like TF2, I don't play them regularly, but I do like just once a year, I know I can hop in and I know I can just load up a random server and have a weird and wacky and totally random experience.
Yeah.
And I don't think that is necessarily Blizzard's priority. I know they have this really great kind of focused design right now, and to kind of see what happens, see what that does in a more creative, chaotic environment is. You know, it's beside the point, but that's the kind of thing that would get a kind of lapsed person like me back in every once in a while. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, they do a lot of cool stuff, and I could definitely see a mode like that would be very cool as an evolution of the custom server browser, because there are some pretty crazy games that are, you know, totally outside of the the conventions of the normal.
I tried
modes.
going on a sex roleplay Overwatch custom server. No one.
Excuse me?
You heard me. And no one was sexing.
I let you down.
Anyway,
So James, you're just that seals it, right? You're never coming back.
no, fuck that.
All right, let's move on from Overwatch, though.
Good game.
Yeah, let's move on from Overwatch. Let's talk about Destiny 2. Destiny 2 on PC. I want to talk about this because it's a big old deal, and a lot of stuff happened since we last had a show, because everything kind of got revealed on the Thursday after last week's show. James, what is there's a ton of things, right? It's coming to PC.
Yeah.
It's coming to PC later than it's coming to consoles.
Don't know how later.
We don't know how long, but it's like what, November, September?
September 8th is
September 8th is the console date that we had assumed, because they just kept saying September 8th is the date. And then when somebody at this preview event you were at last week went, hey, so is it coming out on PC on September 8th? They were like, so about that, which is a shame. But if you guys want some full hands-on stuff, we do have a bunch of coverage on the site. If you go to PCGamer.com/Destiny-2, you'll see all our coverage there. But give me the big question that everyone is asking.
What's that?
You played it on PC.
Yeah.
How'd it run?
Fucking so much better than I expected.
Really?
So Tim and I think a lot of our coverage came off as, Tim and I are huge fans of this game. So is Tom. Tom
Senior.
Tom Senior from the UK side of things. And I think we were expecting a port, or at least we didn't know how that kind of the gunplay would translate, because there's a certain feel to controlling a game with a gamepad and a slight amount of auto aim, and like the floatiness, and like how you strafe and prioritize aiming and all that stuff. And it translates to the PC way better than I thought. You don't get that slight bit of auto aim anymore. You don't need it. It's a mouse and keyboard. But in some games that launch on PC have weird mouse acceleration, or the FOV is a little too tight or something like that. But everything here was just pitch perfect. It was running at 4K, 60 frames, locked for this presentation, but the final version will be unlocked. And it was running, I think it was a 1080 Ti, 4K, 60 frames a second. Didn't drop once.
What settings was it at that? High, medium, do you know?
It looked better than anything on the show floor, and it was running on a PlayStation 4 Pro everywhere else. So, and it looked far better and far crisper than any of those demo stations.
So it looked noticeably better on PC? Because I know
100%.
that the console is locked at 30.
Night and day.
Night and day.
Night and day. Like,
wow.
I kid you not. We all had the conversation. I think Tim was uncertain because he's put so much time in on the console on PlayStation 4 that he wasn't sure if he would make the PC his primary platform, because a lot of that depends on the port and how it feels, and
and he's got a lot of friends on PS4 probably.
And he said he's moving.
Wow.
Yeah. So
wow. That's cool, man.
Yeah,
That's really exciting.
Super reassuring.
And obviously, this is just to caveat this, to play devil's advocate a bit. It is a preview event on a controlled machine with a controlled dev build of the game.
Absolutely.
All that stuff. So there's 100% the possibility that we get this in our hands and it doesn't work, or it doesn't work on a range of machines that were not at that event. Like, that is all still possibilities. But in my experience, and I think probably you guys would agree with this, like, if a game is running like badly at a preview event, it doesn't always mean one thing or the other. And if a game is running great at a preview event, it doesn't always mean one thing or the other. But they both are good indications. Like, if this game is running terribly, you're going to be worried. And if it's running really well, you're going to be a little more comfortable with it, basically.
I would be extremely worried if... I would be more worried, especially knowing that... or if I knew it was launching the same day. But even then, if it launched September 8th, same day, I would believe it at this point. But knowing, like, seeing where it looks, how good it looks now, how well it runs now, and knowing it's coming a little later, for whatever reason, I don't know why, but it feels like it's already at a really good spot. And the rest of that time is going to be dedicated to who knows what, but probably ensuring it's very good.
So the other side of this coin, this other little bit of info that I thought was interesting. We were just talking about Blizzard. For those of you who don't know, Activision Blizzard is the name of the company that is Activision and Blizzard. Like, they are literally the same company. But they've always been very, very separate. But now Destiny 2 is going to be on PC exclusively through Battle.net. Not through
the Blizzard launcher.
Oh,
even though
you know what?
At the event they referred to it as Battle.net.
The CEO of Blizzard got on a stage and said to us, "It's going to be available through Battle.net." I'm calling it Battle.net. Damn their rebrand. Okay,
I agree.
But yeah, so it's going to be through Battle.net, not through Steam, not through any other platforms. Which you can complain about however you want. I think Battle.net's a nice little platform though, and it totally makes sense that they would use this platform that lets you connect with all, like if you're playing Destiny 2 and I'm playing Hearthstone, like we can chat in the in-game chat together. And then also they don't have to pay Valve 30% of every sale of Destiny 2 now.
Yeah. It's you guys are fucked is what I'm going to say. Right? Because you know how Blizzard tricked you, Bo? They're going to trick you again.
They probably will.
They're going to put some skin behind a wall. You go play Destiny 2, go do like 4 strikes, or play this demo, play this trial, and you get this skin.
James, you don't understand. It's the other way around.
It's the other way around.
They're gonna put a Destiny gun behind a Heroes of the Storm game.
I have to go back to Overwatch.
You have to play Heroes of the Storm with us.
Oh shit. Well, to be fair, if I get Winston on a cape, I'll play as much Overwatch as it fucking takes. Like,
Winston on a Destiny game?
You trust me. I'll do whatever it takes.
The interesting thing about this is, like, with the news that Destiny was going to be on the Blizzard launcher, token prices in WoW reached a record high value because you can exchange these tokens for Battle.net credit, and which in theory will be able to purchase the game.
So you could farm gold in WoW to buy Destiny 2, which is just insane to think about the world we're living in.
I think it's going to be a perfect fit for that small ecosystem of games. It's a game about, well, it's Diablo with guns, essentially. Maybe it's not procedurally generated in any way, but you're running dungeons over and over.
You've got the WoW influence of instanced and raids. You've got the Diablo loot guns. And it's a shooter like Overwatch. So
yeah, let's talk about the actual game then. Sure. I'm going to pull up some footage that was on our YouTube, youtube.com/PCGamer. This is PS4 footage, right?
PS4 Pro, so a little better than what you'd get on a normal PS4. But,
so this is part of the, just because the port ran great on PC doesn't mean you should be singing its praises 100% yet, is that they weren't letting us record on PC at the event.
I don't know, it was bizarre to me they didn't, because it would have made a big statement. But either way, so do you guys know much about how Destiny plays at all? Like, do you know?
I mean, Bo just gave a pretty good summary, right? Like, it's a first-person shooter. You kill loot things. You do the thing with the guns.
Kill things, do things. You do. This is a strike, what we're seeing. So we got to play multiplayer, which is kind of what you'd expect. It's guns shooting each other. It was a 4v4 mode, sort of more Counter-Strike and intense round-based stuff, permadeath. The strikes are, I guess, sort of mini dungeons. They're not quite as big as raids, but they are designed levels that take you, through a designed space and throws crazy mobs at you. Sometimes throws an interesting navigation sequence at you, either platforming or dodging something, or doing a thing designed specifically for that strike, and then fighting a boss at the end, and you get a bunch of loot. You do it with a fire team. So fire teams are 3 people in strikes, and in the overworld you can roam with 3 people. You might encounter more. Raids, we don't know much about raids in Destiny 2. If anything, I'm going to bet there are still 6 people. But yeah, so it plays, I mean, the easy comparison to make is Halo, right? Because that's where Bungie started.
Right.
You play a hunter, and you're a floaty kind of, you get a double jump. Sometimes some get a triple jump. Some get like this hover and enemies have this guy's total. This isn't me playing. It's someone else who's bad. But I think the combat is defined mostly by the enemy types, and in this you'll see a lot of Cabal and Vex. Like Halo, there are a whole bunch of enemy types with different behaviors that, some are like grunts are just sort of like constantly firing at you. They're easy to take out. They have equivalents for every race in Destiny. They're sort of the human-sized enemy who are a bit tougher to take down and can move much easier and so on. And they're usually like variants of bigger enemies beyond that. Melee enemies, sometimes they have even things smaller than grunts that resemble the Flood. In this game, or in this strike, you'll see these war dogs that I think they can attack in packs of like 10 unless you take care of them quickly. And what makes the gunplay distinct is like you'll walk into a room and like here there's these two, you're seeing the Cabal fighting the Vex and they're having their own battle. And then you'll just kind of hop into that and you'll have to discern and prioritize like on the go, what's the biggest threat? And it's this big chaotic sort of battlefield that never quite plays the same and doesn't play the same based on which hunter you are. There's, you can toss a grenade into a crowd of 10 enemies and half of them will explode, and then behind you another group will spawn. And it's a lot about dancing and sort of pivoting when you need to. Especially in Destiny 2, it's about sort of like playing your role. Each hunter comes with there's the they're not hunters. Why did I call them hunters?
Yeah, you've been scanning hunters. Isn't hunter a class? And
hunter
they're called guardians.
They're called guardians, but
wow,
hunter's
man.
a class.
You play this game?
Hunter's my main, so I think I'm just like leaning on hunter. Hunter's sort of an agile, athletic class that has a dodge move, and their ult is sort of an electric staff or a golden gun that just insta kills people. The warlock has this kind of AoE drop that spawns this circle that either increases attack damage or heals you over time, and the Titan can drop a wall that blocks incoming fire. They all have their own ultimates too, and there are 3 subclasses within each. Well, I don't know for Destiny 2 if there's what's confirmed or not. That you determine what your ultimate does and sort of articulate your abilities and certain buffs and debuffs and grenade types and so on. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in this game, and it gets pretty chaotic. This eventually this strike gets into this really amazing set piece, and I think that's sort of what differentiates Destiny 2 from 1 immediately to me, is that Destiny 1 was developed for the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 also at the same time, so it was kind of tied to this older generation. This one, there's some really cool particle effects going on. The skyboxes and the backgrounds look so much better. There's some set pieces like this drill boring a hole into this planet's surface. You have to dodge its wildly spinning arms while fighting dudes, and it's so chaotic and crazy. And I think it's going to be capable, or Destiny 2 will be more capable of setting up kind of crazy, beautiful, big scenarios than the previous game. So yeah, I don't know.
So you think we should be excited?
Yeah,
is what you're saying. I
think there's this weird sentiment, and I don't know if you guys caught on that. Maybe it's just little shitty comments or something, but that it's a console game, right? And it's like Destiny doesn't care about the PC, and why should we care about this? It's a looty grindfest, and I'll tell you this. You hypocrites have been playing Looty Grindfest, worse Looty Grindfest, not you specifically, but the commenters out there, have been playing put Diablo 2 on this golden pedestal, and don't, it's weird to me that people can't see, or maybe Destiny's hard to sell as that or understand or conceive of as a game like that. But it's doing Phantasy Star Online, and it's doing Diablo 2, and it's doing all these things at once while, threaded through this really like top of the line shooter. And to me, that's like on the PC, it's about damn time. We should be super excited. Be skeptical for sure. But having played a lot of the first one, knowing that I can play this on my favorite platform, like, you know, in the Blizzard ecosystem, you know, where I have a lot of my friends. Some people are angry that's not on Steam, you know, whatever. That's a whole other discussion. But
I mean, there is many people, real quick, there are as many people getting angry that it is on Steam as there would have been, or that it isn't on Steam as there would have been if it was only on Steam, right? Like, people, there's a faction of people who hate when games are only on Steam and a faction of people who hate when games are not on Steam. So you can never make everyone happy.
But to close out, I just want to say, like, and the raids are another thing. We've written about this at length. We have an article, I think, that went up a few weeks ago about why we should care about Destiny 2, because the raids are like some of the most interesting things being designed in a first-person shooter first-person shooter space. They're like these big ballets where everyone has specific roles in these super elaborate scenarios, and they're really fun to puzzle out. And they without spoiling what they do, maybe go read that piece, look it up. Knowing that they have more of that coming, and it's not tied to, you know, any design constraints and development constraints from the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, I'm extremely excited. It's going to be like PC Gamer's jam. This is the type of thing, you know, they should be wanting, and we have been wanting. Yeah,
so. The big question is still, how is it going to run? And from what we've seen, okay. But there was another thing we didn't bring up that somebody mentioned in the comments. It doesn't have dedicated servers.
Yeah,
that's not a thing that is specific to PC. That is also on consoles. It doesn't have dedicated servers.
Not happy about that.
Yeah. No. So there are questions in and around performance that are still very big to me. And also the fact that when Destiny 1 came out, it was a hot mess at launch.
Absolutely.
And it got better. So, you know, there's a lot of, like, I don't think, in all this enthusiasm, I don't think that this means go rush out and pre-order it right now. Do not do that.
Pre-order it.
Because there are a lot of things to remain to be seen. But like, personally, having not even played the first one very much, I'm excited as hell for this game. I think it looks really cool. It's encouraging to hear that it's got good performance. So I'm excited to see what comes of it, if nothing else.
A fairly common sentiment that I saw around the as details began to come out about the sequel is that a lot of people are saying Destiny 2 is what Destiny should have been, like, when it launched. Like, this is the game that we got really excited for, that looked really, really cool, and was ultimately disappointing when the original launched. That this has all those features that were missing. They learned a lot over their first year or two. Or
it's a very unique case, because the first Destiny was a shell of like what people expected, and honestly a shell of what it is today. And it was developed and redesigned on the fly. And, if you didn't stick through that, and like your only experience and knowledge of Destiny is from when it was first released, I don't blame you for thinking, or anyone for thinking, it's like not worth your time. But right near the end, when everything wrapped up, like the Taken King and the final raid and all that stuff, they really found a nice design and nice balance between, you know, reward systems and repeating content and how to design these big raids and strikes in unique ways. So knowing what they know now, I'm very excited to see how that extends into Destiny 2. So keep your eyes peeled.
Cool.
And, you know, despite the fact that it is not Overwatch, I'm pretty excited about this game too.
We'll see how it goes.
Let's open it up to hear what you guys have to think, though, and to our Twitch chat Q&A. If you have a question for us, tag us with @PCGamer in the Twitch chat, and we will get to you. We want to hear about anything you have to ask about PC gaming, or James, or Montana, or...
I got so much Montana quiz, Montana trivia.
All that stuff.
Yeah.
So ask us, tag us, and we will respond to you. If you want to know more about the PC Gamer Club or stuff that comes with that, we'd love to talk about that, because I'm just crazy excited about it. Yeah, so if you have any questions, please let us know. We got about 10 or so minutes to take them. I want to know, James, real fast. What's your feeling about, or what's your favorite type of gun in Destiny? Like, because there's only like 3 or 4 like types of guns, right?
They've expanded that pool quite a bit.
Okay.
I mean, greater types, there are only 3 or 4, but there are subtypes within, like grenade launchers and so on. The new grenade launcher type, really cool. There's this awesome chain gun primary weapon. I think they call it kinetic now. That from the video, that hand cannon makes enemies explode into fire when you kill them with it. So that's rad.
I'm sorry, the correct answer was throwing giant flaming hammers at people?
That's still pretty cool, too.
Okay, cool. Let's take some questions. Farendale asks, saw that you have a slot at E3 again this year. Can you tell us anything about the show yet? Yes, so we can tell you exactly what is out there. The PC Gaming Show is definitely happening again this year. We are super excited about it. It's going to be on Monday at June 12th at 10 a.m. right here at twitch.tv/PCGamer. So you won't have to go far. But yeah, Monday, the Monday before E3, I guess. Or does E3 start on that Monday? I can never remember.
The show floor opens Tuesday. I believe it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
There are separate events like EA's Play things happening 2 days before.
The press conferences start on Saturday. It's like Saturday, Sunday, Monday are the press conferences, and the show floor opens on Tuesday.
So yeah, if people don't know, we are doing the PC Gaming Show is a thing we've been doing for the last 2 years. Excuse me, not 2 weeks. We're gathering a bunch of awesome developers who are going to basically do a PC gaming E3 press conference in the same way that Microsoft and Sony get to do theirs. We figured, you know what, PC Gaming deserves one as well. So you can find out more if you just go to PCGamingShow.com. And yeah, I can't say too much more than that, but you're not going to want to miss it. It's a lot of really cool stuff coming.
Good stuff.
Okay, let's take some more questions. Jules, PCG merch, club jackets, member patches. We don't.
All about that.
I think there's a shirt sold in the UK somewhere or some places that says like I'm and then has the PC Gamer logo. I don't know 100% details about that. I know we don't sell anything in the North America, but don't rule anything out.
Yeah, I was gonna say what you see in the club membership now. We're just getting started.
Yeah,
so,
this is just the beginning. Definitely.
Tell us what you want. Give us feedback, and we'll try and make whatever cool thing that can happen.
Yeah.
So I want shirts. I want a shirt. I work here for 2 years. I don't even have a goddamn shirt.
Wow, this is just some pent up stuff you just revealed. Yeah, so again, if anybody is a member or wants to be a member, please send us emails or feedback or anything like that. We'd love to hear about that stuff.
Absolutely.
And if you want patches, man, I want patches too. So that's a good call. Let's take some more questions. JBJ Blaze asks, do physical mag subscribers get into the club for free or a discount? No, not right now. Right now it's just a digital mag subscription along with the PC Gamer Club. But once again, don't rule anything out in the future. If you think that's something you want to see, you should let us know about that because we'd love to get that feedback. So thank you for saying that. All right. Let's take some more. Turdog asks, why don't you ever come to Fragapalooza in Canada? I've never heard of that before, and that is a good question. Why don't we ever come to Fragapalooza?
Sounds rad.
I mean,
no idea what
sounds
it is.
fun, yeah.
Booking our tickets right now.
See you there, man.
The answer is we don't have an answer. That's just something that we didn't know about. So, hell yeah, Fragapalooza. Okay, let's grab some more.
I saw one
from
King of Fist 69, I believe.
Good name. Good name.
Asks, what do you think of the GeForce GT 1030? That is one that I can speak to.
Right. Yeah.
I have not tested it myself. I don't know if even Jared, our hardware benchmarking expert, has tested it. But from what I've read about it, I am not really enthused. It is a very, very low-end GPU. It offers pretty much only about double the performance of integrated graphics, which is not very much, and it costs not very much less by a very small margin than the 1050 and the 1050 Ti, which we don't even recommend too much. That is like pretty much as low as we would go in terms of a current gen GPU. Yeah, just the price difference versus the performance difference between an extra $50 when you're in the sub $200 range is just massive. So it's just I would absolutely say unless you are trying to basically race to the bottom and make the absolute cheapest PC you can, which, like, if you're building a gaming PC, why would you do that? I would only basically just save your money a little bit more, and it is well worth the upgrade to something like a 1060 or an RX 470.
Cool. See, now I want to see you do that, though.
Race to the bottom, build the cheapest possible.
The cheapest possible. Like, choose a game, right, that's out nowadays, and build the cheapest possible PC to run that game, even if it's at the like very, very, very minimum settings you can hit.
I mean, that's the thing is you can run a lot of games on crappy hardware. It's just like they'll load; they just won't really be playable. So like that's the where you have to put some sort of benchmark or low bar to hit.
Didn't you say that like 20% of Overwatch players play on integrated graphics?
Yeah, 22% according to
nuts
to Blizzard themselves.
Damn.
They said that game is incredibly well optimized.
That's crazy. Anyway, let's take a couple more. Dilston had one for James. Do you think the in-game looking for group feature that's coming to Destiny 2 will be sufficient, or will it still make raiding a chore? Give a teeny little super fast backstory on this.
In the first game, getting a 6-man raid group together, there was no built-in matchmaking. You had to do it, outside the game entirely.
Tim used like Reddit a lot for that.
So Reddit, people build websites, yada yada. So it was really hard to get a group going, but it was sort of important that you played with a bunch of people that were going to work well together, not a random, just match-made group. In this game, clan support is coming, is built into Destiny 2, and I forget the exact name of the system, but what you can basically do is it's essentially clan Tinder. So if you're looking for a group to just latch onto and kind of to help take you through a raid or like to experience a raid with, and you're not in a clan yourself or you don't have people to play with, you can look at recommended clans and you're both rewarded for helping each other out. So we don't know what the reward is. Maybe it's like some kind of resource or experience or a random loot drop or whatever, but you're going to be rewarded in some way for, as a clan, letting a 6th person join your 5-person group, or as a rando looking for some group to play with, joining their group as well. So
do you think it's going to help?
I think so. It's better than nothing, and it's going to be. Tim's pretty sure it's going to be exploited somehow, depending on what the reward is, no doubt. But I like the idea a lot better than just matchmaking. Go.
Cool.
Yeah. The first one you said it didn't have clan support at launch. Did it have clan support at all?
It has clan support, but it's web browser.
Gotcha.
So you can't just join a clan member very easily. So yeah.
Companion app?
I seriously want to swipe left and right on clans. Bungie, call me. Where are you?
You go back to your empty Overwatch sex server, okay?
Didn't that not turn out well for you?
Oh, also, if anyone wants to come to my Overwatch server, just let me know.
Oh, calm down. All right, there's a couple more questions. There was another tech hardware question. If you, Bo, if you have any answer to Beowulf's, the assumed Titan X Volta, what do you think about it?
I don't know anything about that.
So no info yet.
The whole NVIDIA Volta line. I got nothing. I'm not sure. I don't think anybody on the team even has info that they're not allowed to talk about. Like it's all just rumors at this point. So I cannot speak to anything there.
Cool. Well, that's fine. We'll have more info as well from, like, Jared's testing a bunch of new stuff, and there's a lot of hardware stuff on the way right now.
The only real thing hardware-wise that has come out recently is AMD just announced / I forget if they've released or not, but the Threadripper is their new. I believe it's 16 and maybe even 32 core. I might be saying that wrong. Whatever. There's a lot of CPU cores, and it remains to be seen we've seen a little bit of how Intel is responding with the Core i9,
right?
Which that branding is not official yet, I don't believe, but that's what people are kind of speculating they may call it. It might just be sort of a rebrand of the X series, which was like the what was going to be Skylake X. They're the sort of enthusiast, what we call enthusiast model CPUs that run on the X99 platform. So there's not a ton known right now, or if it is known, it is under embargo. I don't even know it. So we'll see more of that coming in the coming weeks and months.
Cool.
All right, couple last kind of silly questions. Dr. Bronads asks, I know this question is very hard and makes several gamers angry, but do you have any knowledge in regards to the future of the Half-Life franchise? No. No one does.
No one knows.
I don't think the people at Valve know even. That sigh is James being very upset and trying to hold back a tear. Meanwhile, Windows 10 would like me to know that it has updates available for me. So thanks, Windows.
Juicy updates, yeah.
And the last question, Joseph Van, are guys without beards allowed to work at PC Gamer or play PC games? No.
No,
we
absolutely not.
We don't let them in the door, actually.
Except, I think, all of our bosses.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Except for most of the other people who work at PC Gamer.
Yeah, it's pretty much just us.
All right. But thank you very much, everybody. That's all the time that we have for today. We'll be back again Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific time next week, right here at twitch.tv/PCGamer. You can also watch the show at PCGamer.com. /podcast is where the show is archived, I should say, and you can leave us comments there. You can also watch the show at youtube.com/PCGamer. You can send me an email at tom@pcgamer.com. You can check out the new and amazing PC Gamer Club at club.pcgamer.com. There's so many things to do with PC Gamer right now. I told you, it was a good day for PC Gamer. We're feeling good about it. We like you guys. We're glad you joined us here. And we will see you next week. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
See ya.